On the eve of the Paralympics opening ceremony in Rio, disabled people in Sheffield were at the Sheffield Town Hall protesting against austerity in the city. The action is part of a nationwide week of action planned by disabled people against cuts. The group's main aim is to fight all the effects that austerity has on disabled people, from cuts to their vital means of financial support, to cuts to services such as public transport, housing, the NHS women's support against domestic abuse, education and libraries. Earlier, our reporter Barlow Jallo was at the protest and he spoke to Jennifer Jones from the DPAC.
Disabled people are coming together and fighting back. There might be only 10 or 20 of us here, but there's 10 or 20 in Leeds, Liverpool, Manchester, in Stoke, of all places.
Today, in all major towns and cities, and any towns and cities with disabled people against cuts groups, disabled people against the cuts are protesting about the treatment and the lack of rights that disabled people have at the hands of our governments and local authorities, despite the fact that the government is in one breath telling us to celebrate Paralympics, and isn't it wonderful the achievements that disabled people can make, and celebrate the fact that disabled people are so wonderful in one hand, and then on the other hand, watching disabled people suffer and die. And in some circumstances, the local governments are causing and facilitating people to suffer and die.
So when you said some of the rights that disabled people are deprived of, so can you just name some of them?
For one example, something called the Independent Living Fund, which was a sum of money which was given to individuals with complex care needs. And when I say complex care needs, I mean people who are quadriplegic, paraplegic, people who could only communicate through a computer, this sort of thing. People who need help getting in and out of bed, people who need help going to the toilet, people who need help getting fed, and so on and so forth. This fund was cut a year ago. The Independent Living Fund funds were put out to all the different local authorities. All the different local authorities were then given the choice to decide on whether they ring-fence that fund and use it to carry on treating and providing care for people that have these complex needs, or whether they spend it as they see fit. Unfortunately, this means it's actually a postcode lottery for people with complex care needs, depending on whether they're going to get the care that they rightfully deserve in order to support them to be a participating member of society, somebody that can be supported in work, so their access needs to be supported so that they can go to work, or whether they have to live out the rest of their lives in the corner of a room in a care home, which we are absolutely livid about, absolutely fuming. And I tell you something, I know why the government are attacking the disabled people, and it's because they don't think that we're going to fight back, and they are absolutely wrong. These cuts is the difference between them lying in their own mess, in their own filth, their own urine and feces, each night, each day in between carers coming, or them being given the care needs that they rightfully deserve, which is for somebody to support them in person through the day and in person through the night.
From my understanding, it is that the main aim of today's protest is about cuts, but critics will argue that the cuts are everywhere. It's not only disabled people that are suffering. So what's your take on that?
Disabled people have been hit by cuts longer and harder, much more brutally than any other single group in society. Disabled people have faced cuts 9 times worse, 9 times harder than any other group. But people with complex care disability needs have been hit 19 times harder than any other group. You tell me that that's fair? You tell me that I can talk to someone else who's lost another amount of weight and play us off against each other? Now, this is the trick that government play. It's divide and conquer. We're not going to be played off against people on JSA. We're not going to be played off against pensioners. We're not going to be played off against people who are on 0-hour contracts. What we're doing is we are united with all of those people who are facing all sorts of different cuts. We're not saying that we're more special or more deserving of being given something back. Everybody of any form of need, disabled or otherwise, deserves to be supported member of society and have their needs supported and granted.
But what action do you want to be taken?
What we need to see is a sum of money that is for people's disability needs ring-fenced and protected for people with complex care needs. We want to see an end to work capability assessments that are held by people who are not fully qualified medical people. We want to see an end to people being assessed by people who are not NHS staff. We want people to be able to submit a letter from their own GP, from their own consultant, from their own psychiatrist,